Hi.
Hello, do you hear me?
Ses çok kötü, nasıl diyeceğim? Voice is bad.
I said your voice is replayed now.
Please your start.
I can't hear you. I will leave the meeting and enter it again.
Ka mundësi të ikësh ande dhe ma mbyllësh derën. Ka mundësi ikë dhe ma mbyll derën. Jo.
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you now. But I don't know why I have two profiles.
Bir mağazada giymiştik ya. Giymiştim ya. Peki Batman takımlarını aldınız dedi. Yani onlara bahsettiler.
İşte bu. Mustafa Hoca.
Merhaba İsmail Hocam. Welcome. Dear Alba, how are you?
Hello, Professor. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah, thank you. How are you?
Fine,
Okay,
thanks.
fine.
And you?
Paylaşım
Thank
yapalım.
Congratulations for the conference.
Thank you very much. Where is Olta? Sorry, your
I
student.
don't know. I called her and she's going to be online. I sent the link to her.
Okay.
Just a moment.
If you are ready, you can present your presentation. You ready?
For
İsmail
my
Hocam,
presentation, yes.
sunumunu yapabilir Alba Hocam.
Tamam, ben başlayın dedim. Bekliyorum.
Tamam. Tamam, ben çıkayım o zaman. Bir Alba.
Peki ona sen başla de.
Tamam.
I can't hear
If-
your voice.
Okay, if you are ready, you can share your presentation. You can
Mine.
start.
Yes,
Okay.
okay.
Yes. Prof. Ismail will be in here. Okay. I have to
Okay.
go. Bye.
Okay.
So this is my topic. I did it in collaboration with one of my colleagues. Just a moment. So the topic is the public debt management and in Western Balkan with focus Albania. In this topic the introduction show how this topic can be developed, and we are going to talk about the macroeconomic indicator, the relation of the public debt with the transition economy and the first pillars to get economic development. And of course, we are going to see the objectives which are related with the public debt, but in relation with the economic development strategy. We can show that the structure of public debt in Albania reflects a combination of domestic borrowing, mainly through government securities, and external debt, which is obtained from international financial institutions and somehow from global markets. When we talk about external borrowing, we can provide access to larger funding sources and potentially lower interest rate. In this case, we can create the idea that the debt structure in Albania is a mix related with the domestic debt and external debt. Of course, we can see the risk, and one of the important things related with the risk of budgets and debt structure is related with extended maturities and how to reduce the risk of this public debt. The important is to do a comparative analysis with other Western Balkan countries, which reveal differing levels of debt exposure and fiscal resilience. If we take examples, if we see Montenegro, for example, Montenegro has historically faced higher debt levels. And if we see Kosovo, they have maintained a relatively low public debt due to more conservative borrowing policies. If we see Serbia and North Macedonia, they can create an intermediate position, showing gradual improvements in fiscal discipline and debt management practice. Some key data from Albania. We see the public debt in Albania, and the first year of the study is 2015. We have 72% of our gross domestic product. And if we see the data of 2023, we have a 72%. So we have a declining trend related to the public debt. We had an increase in 2021, which is related with the earthquake history, and after with the pandemic. This can create the first increasing of public debt due to some problems related with nature and related with problem which was in the old world. If we see in region, if we see that for Albania is 62%, for Serbia is 55%, North Macedonia 15% of GDP, Montenegro is related with 70%, but plus minus this percentage, and we have Kosovo with a low level of debt. This kind of a percentage is related with the phase of getting the debt and all the stages which can be done or create, how to manage it. Does the public debt has an impact in the economy? Yes, of course, that public debt has an impact on the economy. If we see, particularly the Western Balkans and particularly in Albania, we can create the idea that is required a continuous and adaptive approach. So governments must balance the needs for financing, development, and responding to crisis with the imperative of maintaining debt sustainability. This involves like the implementation of prudent fiscal policies or strengthen the institution or try to develop the domestic capital markets and carefully monitoring the global economic trends. But if our analysis is going to create problems in the long run or how to create idea of how to manage the public debt in the long run, it's important to play a crucial role in supporting economic growth and enhancing financial stability, facilitating the region, integrating the European global economy, needs to have some circumstances or to show many policies which can increase the possibility of to manage this public debt and create more possibility of, for example, exchange rate stability or investor confidence. Does they have, or does the public debt has real events impact? Yes, of course, we have the real impact, which is mentioned before, like the earthquake who happened in our country in 2019. And we can mention it that after the earthquake, we had to manage the problem of the pandemic related with COVID-19. And after this, we have to manage the problem of the global inflation, who has created a higher interest cost for our country due to our level of imports, which is increased, especially in these years. The debt management strategy is related with the diversification of financing sources. We have longer maturities in the years, but we can reduce the financing risk, or we can improve the transparency of the managing, or the transparency of the idea how this debt is created. The public debt is related with fiscal policy, and we have to create fiscal rules, not just to how to develop the idea of managing the public debt, but how to limit the deficit of the budget, or the budget deficit. Medium-term debt strategy give to us the possibility that we can create debt, but the maturity time can be most lower than it is, or try to create institutional strengthening due to policies or due to strategy which are related with economic development, or how to manage this level of debt, just to not create more burdens for the new generations. Which are the challenges? Of course, some of the challenges are created by the idea with external debt exposure. For the first time, we get an external debt in 2010, like the euro bond implemented by the government of this year. But of course, we have some other conditions which are related with the global finance and how to create limit domestic capital markets due to our changes in the values, or the increase of our money into the international market. For conclusions, we see that Albania has improved debt management. We have a regional comparison show moderate risk level with other countries, so we can manage more efficiency now than the level of the debt which is created, just to have for sure the idea that this debt is going to create more development in the market. And of course, we need continuous reforms just for taking the steps for being a sustainable economy, and create the possibility of develop this economy and going through this transition long period. The graph shows the levels of the Albanian debt trend. The first year which we had the level more than 70% is starting 2015. And now we can create the idea that our public debt is nearly the 70%, from 68% to 70%, which is an increased level related with the 2023. But all the debt, all the difference in the public debt in nowadays is created by the investment in infrastructure due to our goals to complete for make Albania a more developed country than it was before. This is a comparison with the regional debt. Is there a comparison between Albania, Serbia, North Macedonia, Montenegro, and Kosovo? I mentioned it before. Like if we see the public debt management in the Western Balkan, is a central issue in economic policy, and it can reflect the broader challenges of transition economy, striving for stability, growth, integration, or into global markets. We can see the region share common structural characteristics, and try to create a development financial system. If we see this kind of the public debt, of course, the increase of public debt can create more, can be created more relatively from a high fiscal deficit. And of course, we can show some external economic shocks. But it's important to create a long-term macroeconomic stability. This is the important of this topic. So I'm done with my presentation.
Thank you very much for your presentation. And
Thank you, Professor.
here.
Now, yes, Paulta.
Is here.
Paulta,
Please,
can you hear us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Uh, I am trying to share my
Share alert. Alert, مش انتوا مالين quem tá vendo share. Apita aqui está rápido, PowerPoint. Nada, nós não. Vai share alert. Nos phone. Reject alert. Share.
смотреть-то.
Okay, two or more presentation. Push first.
I found the role.
Wait. I have to share the presentation of Paulta. The role of green.
There's a problem.
I will share now the presentation of Paulta. I don't know why she can't. No. Paulta, you can see it.
You can see. Yes.
Yes, she can see. Yes. Okay, just tell to me next to press the slide. Your microphone is switched off.
Okay, now you can hear me?
Yes.
Yes. My name is Olta Fucia and I'm a PhD student at the University of Alexander Moisiu Durrës, Albania. This work that I have done, this study, is part of the study that I'm doing as a PhD, because the role of green investments in the development of the circular economy in Albania has to do with the development of my entire study of PhD. Circular economy in Albania has just a little introduction. Traditional economic model take, make, dispose is linear economy. Problems that we have in this context is pollution, resource depletion, need for circular economy, key role of green investments. These are the main topics that we are going to discuss in detail in the next slides. We can move to the next slide. Study goal is to analyze the role of green investments, to assess the impact in Albania, and to identify challenges and opportunities with a SWOT analysis, because we can identify in this form the strength, the opportunities, the main challenges that we identify in the case of Albania regarding green investments and circular economy. We can move to the next slide, please. I have made 4 research questions. They are going to help us to find the results regarding this topic. How do green investments affect the environment? Do they reduce pollution? So we can use them to reduce pollution. Do they affect the circular economy? Have they a positive or negative impact in circular economy? And what are the obstacles that we find in Albania that can't let us develop green investments? We can move. I have made 3 hypotheses. Green investments have a positive impact in circular economy development. Investments have a positive impact in pollution reduction. Investments have a positive impact in economic growth, so in total economy. Now I've put it in this slide a few uh, general definitions of circular economy and our strategies. Among the most comprehensive academic interpretations, we can mention the definition of circular economy as a radical transformation of the production and consumption model. This is a broader concept than just waste management. So we can see more than just waste management circular economy. A circular economy is also part of system for sustainable innovation that links production, governance, and transformation in a social aspects. And the dimension of circular economy and the emphasis on value go beyond recycling, expanding towards dimensions for preserving value and promoting economic sustainability. If we study our strategies, recycling is one of the lower strategies that has an impact in environment, but has a low preserving value. So we have to mention that we have to see more the strategies that are at the higher level, that have a preserving value higher than the other strategies. Reductions in reuse and repair, which are higher order strategies, preserve the value of the product much more than lower other strategies, among which we can mention recycling. So this is the comparison. Lower order strategies also include material degradation and processing that require greater energy. Naturally, referring to these results, in contemporary CA frameworks, our strategies that extend beyond traditional R will be increasingly adopted. So also including repair, renovation, reproduction, and reuse. These are the definition from circular economy and our strategies that we can use in our study. We can move to the next slide, please. These are the definition by the international organization that regard green investments. So we have a OECD report 2017, then green finance is defined as climate finance and as financing for other purposes such as environmental protection, rehabilitation, and biodiversity. So OECD in its report um, relies green investments with environmental protection, rehabilitation, and biodiversity. The World Bank uh, orients the meaning of green finance towards climate change mitigation and adaptation, focusing on the renewable energy sector. The European Commission stands that green finance supports investment that support the transition to a low carbon and resource efficiency economy, integrating the environmental context. And according to the International Monetary Fund, in its 2019 progress report, green investments aim to reduce greenhouse gas emission and increase resilience to climate change. So we have this relies with biodiversity, with environment protection, with mitigation of greenhouse gas emissions, with low carbon and resource efficient economy. We can move to the next slide, please. The methodology that I'm using in this study is qualitative plus statistical analysis, secondary data. Sources are from OECD, World Bank, and the Environmental European Agency. And I have put them there, real data, with a comparison from 2018 and 2024. We can move to the next slide. I have here latest data on Albania. Sources are from OECD, World Bank, European Environment Agency, and IEA 2025. We can see we have 6 indicators: renewable energy, percentage of total consumption, and the renewable energy latest data is 2023 is 46.6%. It's we can say a very high level of renewable energy in Albania, reflecting their significant investments in these sectors, which are made from the states its own and from donor donations. The major donor is European Union with its programs. Clean energy. Percentage of total use is 41.9% in 2029. Carbon emissions, dioxide carbon emissions. In 2023, we have low emissions, but they remain in the same line. They don't go lower. We have urban waste per capita, and recycling still remains limited, 18.9%, indicating the challenges that we have in circular economy regarding recycling. Now we have a comparison of 2018 to 2024, then we see that we have a positive growth of renewable energy, because from 41.9 that it was in 2021, so it is the percentage of renewable energy with total consumption, to 46.6% in 2023. Steady growth in green energy investments. Carbon intensity is decreased because from 0.09 it's to 0.08. shows improvement in environmental efficiency. Waste and recycling, we have a lower amount of waste, and recycling has progressed, but it's slow, we can say, regarding the data that we have. We can move to the next slide. If we have a empirical analysis to combine this data, we can say that increasing renewable energy, it's going to low carbon intensity, and they have a negative relationship. Increased investment, reduce pollution. So if we move back to the hypothesis, we can say that increasing green investments improve resource efficiency, that is evidenced by reduced waste per capita. Increasing recycling, increased circular economy, but progress is still limited. We can move to the next slide. There is a SWOT matrix for green investments in Albania that I am putting the opportunities, threats, strengths and weaknesses. As opportunity, we can mention to expand solar and wind energy, assess EU green funds, develop circular industries, growth on green jobs, adapt modern clean technologies. As threats, we can mention climate change impacts, economic instability limiting investments, slow policy implementation, dependency of foreign technology and funding. As I said, the financing in the renewable energy programs in Albania, there was a major part of donor donations and exclusively of EU, European Union. And environmental degradation if reforms are delayed. So if we don't have public reforms that affect the environment, environmental degradation is going to go anyway. High share of renewable energy is one of the strengths that I mentioned. We have rich natural resources, but we can have rich natural resources, but they are going to end one day. Low carbon intensity, EU integration support, growing international support. Weaknesses, we can say a low recycling rate, poor waste management infrastructure, heavy reliance on hydropower, limited financial resources, and low public awareness. The results of this study, we go back to the hypothesis and we have the results. The real data confirm the study hypothesis. The one was green investment positively affects sustainable development, which from the data that we have, it's approved. Number two was there is a negative relationship between investment and pollution. That is approved too. The impact on the circular economy is still partial. We can't say very much because the lower rate of recycling has a negative impact in circular economy. We have a little progress, but it's still very little. So we have to invest in recycling to have more impact in circular economy. We can go now to recommendation. Increasing investment in recycling, supporting policies, environmental education, and public-private partnerships. So thank you for your attention. If you have any question.
Thank you very much for your presentation. And thank you for your presentation and participation.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
See you later. Bye.
See you in other conferences. Bye.
Bye.